I cannot have my freedom to be restricted in any way. Absolutely not. When I spoke to her yesterday, when I got married and we lived in that basement with my first husband, and I got pregnant, and before, I think it was close to 7 months when I started bleeding, they took me to the hospital, and they said the only what I have to do to stay in the hospital, to stay in bed. That's all, to be under supervision of doctors, just to stay in bed. I could read books, I could do some needlepoint, no matter what, just stay in bed. I couldn't. I was for sure very young at that time, what was 21 years old, a stupid little girl. But the only what I knew, I couldn't have my freedom restricted. So my husband had to sign a release and take me home. What happened, a week later, heavy bleeding started. They took me to the hospital, performed cesarean, and it was a baby boy. I still remember his cry. And one of the medical students who was present at the surgery, during the surgery, oh, he is such a survivor. And the doctor shushed her, said, don't say anything. And for a few days, I thought that I hear his cry. So what happened, they put me in a room with 5 other women who had their newborn baby, and they had those babies to feed, to breastfeed. I was the only one who didn't see my baby, had my breast bandage so the milk would disappear. And when I asked again a nurse a few days later, how is my baby, how's my son? Because the doctor kept saying, he is alive, but he is very weak, don't put too much hope. But when I asked the nurse, the baby, what is the name, such and, oh, he died already. Didn't they tell you that he died? I almost died myself there. So I don't know, is it my fault that I lost the baby because I couldn't be in a restricted environment? Before that, even when I was a little girl, when we came from concentration camp, I was very, very weak. And my mother put me in tuberculosis sanatorium. And again, I was standing there at the gate, crying, looking at people who could walk. They could walk free, and I couldn't. I couldn't take it. So that is left for me for life, and what is left for me, cold and dark. I absolutely cannot live in a place that is dark or obstructed with. That's why I love this. This apartment is so sunny, it's so bright. And if you will see our house in Florida, it's very bright and sunny. But when we travel, if we are given a room somewhere that is dark, change immediately. I cannot take it. We stopped at the point when I missed a year and I went to work. Yeah, I didn't get to the college.
So you tried to get to college, you didn't get, they picked 1 out of 50.
Yes.
Oh, and so now you have to work, and you're...
Now I had to work. I went to a factory where they were doing, it's not even factory, this was factory or plant, whatever you call, where they're making canned food. So my first job was to make wooden boxes. You just nail with a hammer, and you understand how good I could be. I was coming home, and that sound of the hammer over the nails and my bleeding hands, because very often I would miss. I don't remember how long I've been there, but then at the same place they put me on a conveyor to make that canned food, fruits or vegetables, I don't remember. For a while I worked there, and then I changed to something where they're making bread, where they bake bread. Oh my God, I don't know how they're making bread now or how they're making here, probably not that. At that time, they would get all the leftover, some stale bread, maybe half eaten by rats or I don't know. They would put all together, mix up, and there you get fresh smelling bread. I said I would never touch bread, but on another hand, maybe everything else was made this way. Here nowadays, in here, I think there is control or whatever. But anyway, working with that bread, I was afraid to apply to institute again, to a college again, in Russia Institute. So I enrolled into technical school. That's what they call there, just 2.5 years. And that school, it's called where they're making bread, learn not just how to make bread, mostly equipment of the places where they make bread. So that was the same college, the same school that my father graduated many years ago. 2 of the teachers still remembered him. That was
Wow.
funny. While I was in that school, I met my husband. I got married. I think I mentioned that he was 3/4 Greek, and his his mother was Greek, and they were persecuted in, I think, 1949. They were all sent to Kazakhstan, all Greeks, and only after Stalin's death they allowed to return. But funniest thing, being so persecuted, they were awfully anti-Semites. They were very much against our marriage because we loved each other very much. It was my first love. And after what happened with my pregnancy, but then it happened that I found once that my husband was cheating on me. And at that age, when you are 23 years old, everything is black and white. He said that I had nothing to do with that girl. She means nothing to me. I said, no, you could lie to me. And lying, when you look straight into somebody's eyes and you lie, how can you continue living with this person? That is it. And he said that they were very insulted, his family, his mother and sister. Oh, she threw you out. And that was our poor basement. I said, if it was your apartment or our apartment together, I would leave. I had no place to go. So he left. And that was the end of my first marriage.
What was his name?
Victor.
And how did you guys meet?
Oh, we met. It was very popular in my time, in my city, to go to colleges for dancing parties. Yeah, so we went to a dance party, and we girls, me, my friends, my girlfriend standing at the wall, just waiting to be picked up for a dance. And the guy comes up to you and picks you up. I consider myself very far from pretty, not ugly. First of all, I was wearing glasses. And you know how they say, guys don't make passes at the girls who are wearing glasses. That was very much true.
That's funny.
Yeah, and all of a sudden comes this handsome, he was, as I said, Greek, and typical black hair, black eyes, tall, very handsome. He goes to our group, and sure, he picks me. I was so surprised. And that's how it happened. We met, then he, you know how guys, he wanted to get intimate right away. I said no. He said, then I'm leaving. I said, okay, you can leave. No, he came back. We were dating for almost a year, and we got married eventually. So it was really love. That's why it was such a huge disappointment when I found out. Yeah.
What was his full name? Victor?
Victor, his last name Parakonny. Parakony in Russian means a pair of horses. It was nothing. So for many years I had his last name. Then I changed it back to my name was Shapashnikov before I got citizenship.
So we were talking about Victor.
Yeah, Victor. So we divorced in 1963. And after that, many years I was single, my best young years. From 63 to I emigrated in 74. I was dating for sure, but didn't get married. And when I came here, 74, we had some friends. She was a sister of my boss that I worked in Russia. And she had a nephew that was in America by then. And he was her nephew and my boss's nephew. So we had, by coincidence, we had the same last name. And when I was in Italy all by myself, when I emigrated, I didn't know where to go. One person, go to Australia, go to New Zealand, no, go to America, but not to New York, go to... So you know, when you are alone, it's extremely hard. And I don't know, something happened. I don't know even if I should talk about it. I got raped there, being in Italy by an immigrant. When I came to America, I didn't know even the word pregnant. I had to look up in the dictionary. But yeah, they performed an abortion, everything ended well, but that was a big trauma. I came here in 74, and those friends that I told you about, my future husband, he was with his family. He lived in Flint, Michigan, with his wife and son. And by that time, they divorced. He was extremely interesting person. He was a film director in Odessa, a screenwriter, a professional photographer, an extremely talented man. Whatever he touched, like his hobby was wood carving. Or when you are in Florida, I will show some of his work. So very intelligent, very, very smart. So we met at his aunt's house in 76, I think, yeah. And we, by that time, 76, don't forget, I divorced in 63, so all those years I was alone, as I said, dating, but not married. So we met, we fell in love.
How did you knew his aunt?
His aunt, we were friends. I knew his aunt because she was the sister of my boss. I used to work on the computer center in Odessa, in Russia. And my boss by that time emigrated already to America. He lived in Kansas City, and we were corresponding. He said, "You are welcome to come, but being single here, not with the family, will be extremely hard." My future husband, who lived in Flint, who had the same name, said the same. "I will help you, you can come here, but Flint is a small place. It's all GE there, nothing else. There is no Russian at that time, so I don't know what you will do." So I decided, after all, to come to New York.